This morning I really would like you to keep in mind the body. It's an expression you find in meditation. To keep in mind, that means also it's like a synonym of awareness. To keep in mind what's going on now. You're not just distracted from what's going on, you're not confused, you're conscious that maybe you feel confused, you're conscious that you feel tired, you're conscious that you feel kind of grumpy maybe. It's a refuge in awareness that we are concerned with, not so much the quality of the mind in terms of content. Content can be anything, absolutely anything, from hell to heaven and back and forth. In meditation, we develop the mind that is learning to see clearly. The content of the mind that is constantly changing, so it's not so easy sometimes. Things come and disappear very quickly. But with a focus on the body doesn't disappear so quickly. When you are developing mindfulness, it's right here in the present moment with you. It's difficult to ignore it. And if you feel sleepy and you want to counteract the sense of sleepiness, which is one of the hindrances, sleepiness, sloth and torpor, you can actually raise your back and open your eyes. The Buddha said to Moggallana, one of his disciples, before he was an arahant, he saw Moggallana was sleeping. He was far away, but through psychic power, he saw that Moggallana was sleeping, and he kind of called him and said, Moggallana, you're sleeping. Moggallana said, yes, Lord. And then he suggested a few things. One of them was quite drastic. You sit on the edge of the cliff, walk backward. That really wakes you up. You'll be amazed how awake you are if you sit on the edge of a cliff. I have to read the sutta again, but it's that kind of about 5 or 6 advice. Splash yourself with water. Walk backwards, do walking meditation backwards. And in the end, he said, if you're tired, just go to sleep. It's a very practical mind, Buddha. It's just like, no kind of, just pray to the heavens to make you awake. Just, if you're really tired, just go down and lie down and sleep. If you really can't do it, it means maybe your body is tired. When the body is tired, it's just tired. That's it. You've been. You just sit on the chair. No. So, when I see people, dozing off or sleeping, I know for myself, when I'm tired physically, I really can, I find it hard to stay upright. I can stay upright, but, at some point it kind of, I move forward, but when I'm really lots of energy, it's not a problem. It just stays upright without me thinking about it. So you just have to be kind to yourself. If you feel tired, maybe you need a holiday. You probably thought your holiday would be at Amaravati at that time, but it's holiday of the heart. You have a big, big holiday. It's totally unworldly holiday. It's a big holiday that just will bear fruits for years to come. So don't worry about if you feel really totally miserable. It's a particular kind of holiday. It's building up the refuge of awareness and consciousness. Lose your expectation and you'll be much happier. And then the refuge in the Dhamma is really a vital refuge which meditation provides. Little by little we understand that we can see things in meditation from very different angles. But in Dhamma, you have seeing things from right view. It's a big word, capital R, capital V, right view. Samaditi. Rather than instead of miccha diti, wrong view. It's not a judgment, like avijja. It's not a judgment whether avijja is coursing your mind. It's just a fact, something that just happened when awareness, mindfulness, and the quality of wakefulness are absent. We lose our compass, so to speak, when we are unawake. So, taking refuge in Dhamma. Dhamma means the truth and Buddhist teaching. The Buddhist teaching that means also nature. It's interesting how this word has different connotations. So for me personally, when I say I see things as Dhamma, it means I actually use the Buddhist teaching, in which I have a great confidence. I use the Buddhist teaching to kind of understand my present moment experience. So we have chanted this morning, form is not self, feeling is not self, perception is not self, mental construct is not self, sense consciousness, eyes consciousness, ear consciousness, tactile consciousness, olfactive consciousness, mind is not self. So I explore. And you see, you don't need to think what is not self. It's very difficult for self to imagine its absence. It's almost impossible. The only thing you know is if you explore what you think is me and self, and then you will know what is not self. Not in terms of concept, but in terms of realization. And that's the path that meditation provides. It's such an amazing thing to be able to explore this truth. And the quickest way to get it really is to take a good look at what you experience and just double check the quality of your experience. Is it really me doing something, and when it's changed, have I pushed things away, or is it just the nature of mind and body to kind of the nature of impermanence? Am I doing this, or is it just happening by itself? Does it need me to change? Does it need an I? Or does it change? It's the nature, just a natural process. It's anicca. So when I take refuge in Dhamma, I am determined to see things as they are. And I have no idea how things are until I take a good look. I don't think about it. I don't imagine it. Although we can, if we want to. But actually, the way things are is just the way things are. And sometimes they are stuck, sometimes they are changing, sometimes you can see anicca very clearly. And at other time, it seems like it's never going to end. But then seeing things in the perspective of Dhamma is that you're aware of how your mind responds to the situation. It's never going to end. Emotionally, it's never going to end. It's going to be there forever. I'll die with this. And then you lose that thought because you forget yourself for a second and suddenly it's gone. As all of you have experienced that, you know. So taking refuge in Dhamma is actually taking refuge in exploring anicca, dukkha, anatta. There's many aspects, of course. Taking refuge in Dhamma is actually using the teaching to investigate your experiences. Not to believe in what the Buddha says, but you investigate them. Is it right? Is it really true? Is it really impermanent? Is it really dukkha? I mean, I find a lot of things that were sukha in my life, even though the Buddha said it's dukkha. They were quite happy. So, you know, for a long time, we don't even see the dukkha of things that we have labeled as happy. Like simple things, like maybe some of you drink alcohol outside the monastery. I haven't really drank much alcohol in my life, but, you know, I can use maybe something I like to eat, for example, or something. So it's sukha when it's going on, lots of sukha, and you believe the more I get it, the more I feel happy. Whether it's drugs, it can be or any kind of sensual pleasures. So you get, you know, even though you made maybe a terrific determination not to take any more drug, any more alcohol, not to swear anymore, you might be not to act upon an unskillful actions or speech, but for some reason the habit is strong. Sometimes people just love swearing. I just heard recently that one of the most princely looking Prime Minister of France used to swear an awful lot. Love swearing. Don't ask me why. He had a name with a particle, de something. And someone told me that he looks totally royal in front of TV, but actually he's really enjoys swearing. So we have different way of looking at generating happiness in us, I suppose. Oh, comfort. Or taking drugs. How many people just cannot help themselves taking a drug? And now drug can be, hash or LSD or whatever the newest drug that exists right now. But you can actually apply the same principle for the addiction to avidya. I often used to say we are addicted to delusion. By this, I mean, it's not that I is doing anything, it just doesn't see the pain of delusion, and that's why it's addicted. Just like we don't see the pain of taking drugs. we feel relieved for a little while. And so it's a huge step when you suddenly want to free yourself from the delusion of the mind, the avidya of the mind. It's an enormous step in the human life. I think you should really congratulate yourself to just wake up to the point where you're actually interested in not living from a place of sleep, unawakened state of mind, from a place of, carelessness. And there's the chanting that we've done for a few days is like heedfulness in all things that arise, heedfulness in all things that arise in the mind. That's a statement, isn't it? Not heedlessness, heedfulness and mindfulness are close together. In fact, there is in the Dhammapada, there is a verse, heedfulness is a path to the deathless. Heedlessness is a path to death. Those who are heedful never die, but those who are heedless are as already dead. So this is a stanza that is, I don't have to believe in his word, but just what does that mean in terms of my experience of Dhamma? What does that mean? This is the word of the Buddha, the teaching of the Buddha. Just reflecting, what does that mean, the Dhamma of these verses? Heedfulness is a path to the deathless. Amaravati means the deathless. That's why Ajahn Sundara gave its name. He didn't even know, apparently, that there was an Amaravati in India, from what I recall. But he wanted to make this place, to associate this place with the, in a way, the highest level of the Buddhist teaching is a realization of Nibbana, the deathless, the peace of birthless mind that stopped being born into dukkha through avidya. So, just spend a few minutes just to let what I've been telling you, it's quite a lot, so I've been telling you just to let it sink in. Don't need to hold on to anything of what I said, just let it percolate gently. Just to finish, I'll talk about this refuge in the Sangha at another time, but in terms of Dhamma, notice there's a way of seeing things in terms of me and mine, my suffering, my body, my thoughts, my feelings, my perception. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, as long as we, out of that view, we get caught up in me and mine, and the me and mine is a part of the mind that is built up on all the stories of your life from birth till now. And some of them are pleasant stories, others are awful memories, and so on. So instead of, you can look at this in a psychological way. You can, it's quite interesting on a psychological level, just to see how the mind responds, what the mind does, how it's influenced, and so on. You can keep it on the psychological level, and maybe investigate, why you behave the way you do, why you think the way you do, why you are the way you are, and so on. But also, when you take refuge in Dhamma, you start taking the risk of moving in a different direction. So there is thought, there is dukkha, there is hurt and pain in me. I feel the hurt and pain. But is there anybody who is feeling that as an I? Or is just a feeling that's associated with a mental object, like a memory? So this is things in terms of Dhamma, rather than me experiencing something. And the me can really feel terribly kind of threatened just to be told you don't exist. You don't tell your I that you don't exist. You just realize that when you look at that thought, I am this way and that way, it's just words passing through the mind. Even though they may relate to something real, you don't want to dismiss that. But you want to question, how real are they in the present moment when you see them as coming and going, coming and going, coming and going? That's the work of meditation, to make you realize when something comes and goes all the time, doesn't last, doesn't stay, what reality does it have? It has a momentary reality, but it's not permanent. It's not me all the time. It's a feeling, it's a thought, it's an I. I is a thought, comes and goes. Sometimes we forget ourselves, you notice. So it's not a question of forgetting ourselves or remembering ourselves and creating a sense of me and I, increasing that tendency to think that there is a doer in us, there is somebody here who is in charge. It's unfortunate when avidya is in charge. And it's fortunate when we wake up to maybe the damage of avidya. And sometimes through avidya, also we wouldn't be so addicted to avidya if he wasn't giving this kind of state of affair, was not giving us also a lot of good things. So during the day-to-day, you just begin to notice who is walking, who is feeling this. You don't even have to say it, but keep the mind awake, what's happening. I feel tired. Is that true? Double check. Maybe you are tired. I've challenged my tiredness many, many times. It was all a lie. Not always, but often enough to really makes me interested to keep on challenging these things rather than believing a feeling or believing this or that. Challenge.